Yo, good morning. Good morning, y'all. Back again with that good old college football, the best thing in America. So, y'all know since the beginning of the year, I've always been pretty high on TCU. They was picked seventh, so second to last to finish in the Big 12. They were picked seventh. Um, I think there's a lot of reasons why TCU don't get the respect they deserve. One is because of recruiting, but as I tell everybody, recruiting rankings are only like the smidget of a story. It's just like if you're in a parking lot, right, and you have a Lambo, and this other person next to that Lambo may have a simple, I guess, Chevy or whatever, but don't realize that Chevy underneath there is like souped up. They got turbo engines, they have hydraulics, they got all type of crazy stuff, more than this Lambo. And so that's the thing with TCU. TCU is like Oklahoma State. They're great at development. So the players that they get, even though they're 3 stars or 2 stars or no stars, they develop them to be NFL caliber athletes. Just look at the NFL. Look at Jerry Hughes. A lot of people don't know before Jerry Hughes was a DN, the guy was, I think, was a receiver or something like that, something crazy like that. He put like 50 to 60 pounds on him and made him and turned him into an NFL draft pick. So that's why I feel TCU is a contender. These are my three reasons. That offense is legit. Like I've gone on record and said this that TCU's team this year is better than a 2014 team. They got left out of the college football playoff. They should have went, but the commissioner, what he messed up on was what happened was Baylor ended up beating Baylor beat TCU, and they both had the same record. They both were identical. And so the commissioner, he didn't want to claim a conference champion. So he put him as co-champions, thinking that the committee would let both teams into the college football playoff, which he was wrong. He tried to gamble, and pretty much he was being greedy, because as the media rights go, if you have two teams in the college football playoff, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for your conference. And so committee was like, well, we'll just take Ohio State. And which is crazy because Ohio State ended up winning the national championship. A lot of people don't remember they were ranked 16th in the initial rankings. But TCU was better than Ohio State that year. They were better. Like I don't know if they would have won the national championship. I don't know. I'm not too sure. Trevon Boykin, he kind of had his up and down games. Like he'll throw for a good number of yards and touchdowns, and he'll throw picks. Even against the game against Ole Miss, I think he threw like 2 interceptions, but it really didn't matter because TCU was just so good. But that was the year that I feel like college football, if they would have had a 12-team playoff, yeah, Baylor and TCU, it would definitely be a whole different story. So I'm definitely in agreement with with 12 teams being in the college football playoff because football is like a game of chance. You just kind of never know which side of the ball may lie, you know. So I'm actually very excited about that. But their offense is legit. Max Duggan is an NFL quarterback. I'm gonna repeat that again. Max Duggan is an NFL quarterback, and the way you measure success in the Big 12 is by your quarterback play. Big 12 live and die by quarterbacks. A lot of the media outlets have it wrong where they feel like a Big 12 champion will have 2 or 3 losses. That will never happen. I'm going to repeat that to you. That will never happen. You will not have a Big 12 champion with 2 losses. This is not the Pac 12. I'm just being real. Nothing against the Pac 12, but this is not the Pac 12. That will never, ever, ever happen. Even though Big 12 hurt itself by not doing divisions, they do round robin, so everybody kind of beats up on each other. But the one thing that's good with that is that you can't avoid anybody. You have to play everyone, so it's kind of good and bad at the same time, depending on how you look at it. But that will never happen in Big 12 because the QB QB play in the Big 12 is just so important. And usually the school that has the best quarterback usually wins the conference. And they're not winning, they're not losing with no it's the most loss they probably have is one. And so Max Dugan is the best quarterback in the conference. By far. He's the best quarterback. And you have some other good quarterbacks out there. You have Spencer Sanders, but he's kind of inconsistent. He's kind of hurt right now too. Um, I think Sam Ewers out of UT is a pretty good quarterback. Hudson Carter is a really good quarterback too. Um, Texas Tech Donovan Smith, he's a decent quarterback. He doesn't really have a strong arm, and he's not really accurate. So that kind of hurts him. So like Texas Tech be trying to play like Tennessee, but don't have the quarterback of a Tennessee. So you see how Tennessee's able to play. That's how you really defeat a great defense. Is you spread everybody out, and if you have a quarterback with a strong arm who can throw outside the numbers, man, there will be a time where a school or offense that's heavily relying on offense will thrive. Just look at LSU. LSU, I don't even think had a top 25 defense when they won a national championship, but their offense was just so raw. With Burrow, Jefferson, and Chase, like, and then you had Edwards. Like, them four was just domination. And I think TCU has the same ceiling when they put it all together. I think Quentin Johnson is a animal. Like, dude is like he kind of reminds me of a Martavius Bryant, but just bigger and faster. Um, you got the other guy, Barber. He's kind of slept on. Barber is a really good receiver. Like, he's very athletic, very tall, can high point the ball, fights for extra yards. Um, love Ken. Y'all know my video about Kendrick Miller yesterday. Dude is an NFL back. Dude's 225 and is fast. Like, he legit runs at least a low 4.5. And Max Dugan also, I believe, probably runs a 4.5. So TCU is a very, very talented offense. They have a very good line. Their line is definitely underrated. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Just looking at the eye test and looking at the games that they played, TCU is better than Michigan, and they're better than Clemson. I'm gonna say it again. They're better than Michigan, and they're better than Clemson. I think Michigan has always been overrated. As a kid growing up, Michigan has not won a national championship at all. So I don't get why, like, fans. Oh my God, the fans of Michigan are like, I don't want to say delusional, but man, every year they feel like they're gonna win national championship. Every single year, like they have that cowboy effect. I don't know, it's something about the big house that messed their head up. I think it's all that blue, the Michigan water. I don't know what it is, but they feel like they're gonna win a national title every single year. Every year they get disappointed. Just look at the college football playoff when they played against Georgia. When you have a team from the Midwest come to the South, like, it's just a wrap. There's a reason why there's only been one team outside of the South who's won a national title, and that was Ohio State in 2014. And if you look at it, it technically wasn't even supposed to be there if you kind of just look at it. But they end up, I'm not gonna say they got lucky, but they ran into Bama. Bama wasn't ready. They was not. It just felt like they were like not kind of laughing at Ohio State, but kind of like undercutting them. Like, well, now I don't think they're gonna beat us. And Ohio State went to that run game and just demolished them. And then obviously they versed the Oregon squad, who wasn't strong in the trenches. And then also, Oregon never really had receiver talent. They've never really had great receivers. So Mariota, he kind of was trying to put the team on his back, and he made a couple of bad decisions. I feel like a quarterback that athletic, just you should be able to take over the game. But obviously, not everybody has that Vince Young effect or that Tim Tebow effect or that Max Dugan effect where they just fail to lose. But not everybody's built like that. But that's why I come to say that, man. I think man, if you're a TCU fan, just be patient. I think y'all have something very special. I don't know if you'll win a title. I don't know that, but I do believe that eventually TCU they're going to be in a college football playoff this year. I don't see them being defeated by anyone. I think they're going to easily win against Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a scrappy team, but I don't see Texas Tech pulling it out. I don't think they have the horses for it. Did they go against UT? UT's going to be a tough one because I know UT's. I think they're going to come off a win against Kansas State. So they're going to be hyped playing against TCU, trying to knock them off. Um, then they play against, I believe, Iowa State. I feel like they're gonna be prepared against Iowa State also. Um, then a Big 12 championship game, is always a toss up between. I think it's gonna be between. I don't know. Oklahoma State is kind of injured right now, so I think it may be either be Kansas State or it may even be Texas in the Big 12 championship game, which I think TCU will win because they're gonna be healthy and they're more balanced. This is probably the best offense I've seen in a long time out of the Big 12. Oklahoma has had great, offense with, the Kyler Murray led teams, the Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts. But I think the reason why I feel like this one is so much better is because they have more balance. Like with Baker Mayfield didn't have the athleticism or the arm strength of Max Duggan, but they had a great running game. With Kyler Murray, I don't think he had the running game with like TCU have with Kendra Miller and that other speedster Darius Slay. The guy I'm not sorry, not Darius Slay. His name is Darius. I forgot his last name. Dude is like super fast. And obviously with Jalen Hurts, he also really didn't have a running game either. Um, but yeah, man, I think that yeah, this TCU team is legit. Like they're definitely legit. Whenever you can come back from 17-point deficits, you're a really good offense, especially in the Big 12, which is really hard because there's a lot of great offenses in the Big 12. And so for them to be able to come back, it kind of lets you know, man, they're a really good team. I do believe they're a playoff team. And yeah, man, I can't wait. I think if they go against whether it be Tennessee, Georgia, I think those gonna be one of the two that's gonna be ranked number one by the end of the season. If TCU is healthy, I put my bet money on TCU. I put my bet money, especially with that receiver Quentin Johnston. If you have Dugan, Quentin Johnson, Kendra Miller, and all three are healthy, I put my money on TCU. They're gonna find a way to win. They just do. And then with Sonny Dykes and Raleigh, two of the great minds in college football right now. When it comes to offense, I'll take my chances. But hey, y'all, tell you TCU. If you're a TCU fan, if you go to TCU, I think this is the season to be all in. Boosters, be all in. I mean, whatever the coaching staff need for TCU, y'all need to be all in because y'all have something special going on right now. Hey, let the chips fall, but y'all know how we do it, man. Let's get it. Peace, love, happiness. Peace.